Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and Nowrooz Mubarak. Happy Iranian New Year. I would like to say a few words about this Iranian culture as we're celebrating an important facet of it, that it's its spring equinox and the coming of the Iranian New Year. And that has to do with the definition of what culture is and part of this cultural milieu of the Iranian world. Now, when we talk about culture or what is known in Greek as paideia, we definitely know that the Greeks had a set of ideas about learning and what was important, both in terms of body and the mind. That is to go and learn and talk about philosophy and also go to the gymnasium or become bodily ready. Now, it's interesting that we have the same idea in the Iranian world, but through different tools. And these tools are very much Iranian or have been adopted and made Iranian in its form. To give you an example, to be a perfect person, someone who has in Middle Persian frahang, what we have in Persian farhang or culture, one must adopt a set of norms and values. And we find this through Middle Persian texts, such as the text of Khosrow Dridak, Khosrow on the Page, where this young man says, when I was young, I went to Divirestan. I learned how to become a good writer, and I learned to write swiftly. I learned to write beautifully. I learned about my religion, and I learned about the past and the history. But also, to be in mind ready, there are two sports that are very much Iranian. And one has to be polo. The game of polo comes from Iran. And the second one is, of course, something that is much more worldly, and that is the chase. That is in the off season when there's no war. You go on the chase to be ready in terms of your martial arts. But also for the mind, what is important were the two games that were adopted, one coming from India but Iranianized. That is the game of chess, what in Sanskrit is known as chaturanga. That means four limbs, that was played with dice, and turned into what we call shatranj and made it into an Iranian game without the dice, with the king and the minister. And that is the game of strategy, to keep you ready in mind. But the other game that has gone throughout the world and become viral is the game of backgammon, which in Middle Persian is known as Niv Ardeshir. Brave is Ardeshir, referring to the Sasanian king in the 3rd century, which is about a game of strategy but also fate, because the dice now plays a part in it. So in order to be someone who was cultured in the ancient Iranian world, in this milieu that we call Iran Shahr, both polo and also the idea of other forms of sport were important, but also being mindly ready. Thank you.